pining for a settlement in Pinckney,
Ooh.
and I have a connection to Pinckney as well.
You're kidding.
College
Are you sure?
friend.
Did you write these questions? Did you like give them did you call in to the office?
No, I didn't. College friend named Ashley, who lived in Pinckney, went to Central Michigan University with me. Fire up Chippewas. All right.
Okay.
But this is not Ashley, or maybe it is.
Okay.
Pining for a settlement in Pinckney says, is it true that if I settle my mortgage debt for less than what is owed, that I will have to pay tax on the difference? Can't I negotiate this with my creditor, and how can you help? From pining for a settlement in Pinckney.
Okay. So it happens to be a very common question.
Okay.
It's a great question, though, and for people who aren't familiar with debt resolution or settlement, to answer pining for a settlement in Pinckney, her first question, or their first question, is do I have to pay a tax on it? The answer is yes. Okay, so the IRS requires that any time there's a settlement from an obligation that's less than the balance of the obligation, that is considered income. Okay?
Oh, okay.
It's a form of income. So the form that the debtor would get is called a 1099-C.
Okay.
Okay? And it relates to debt that's been written off by the lender or creditor. So I'll give you an example. If you have a $100,000 balance on a mortgage and the bank says, we don't want to foreclose on you, or, we're going to work a deal with you, whatever it is, if you just leave right now, it will take $70,000 instead of $100,000. So that's a $30,000 difference. The bank is going to issue, according to the IRS regulations, a 1099-C to the debtor for $30,000. You have to pay, you don't pay $30,000 to the IRS or to the government. You pay whatever your tax obligation is based on your tax bracket, or whatever your accountant, again, comes up with on a tax figure. You may only have to pay, $30,000, and let's say you're, 20%. Well, that's what?
$6,000.
$6,000. That's your tax obligation. For not having to pay 30,
yeah,
you're really out 24,000. You got to pay 6. Now there are people who have like really tough debt issues, and they just don't have any money. And this is from being at the banks for so many years. People are like, oh my God, I can't have a 1099. It's just, I can't pay that tax. Well, guess what? If you don't have the income, you don't pay the tax. You basically write to the IRS. You have an attorney or your CPA write to the IRS. I've done it many times for clients, saying that you're not collectible, and you ask the IRS to verify that you're not collectible. So you don't have to pay a tax, okay? But you can't negotiate, well, let me restate that. You can negotiate whatever you want with your lender. It's what your lender will accept. If you figure out, my God, my tax is gonna be $6,000, then figure out another number to negotiate with the bank so that you reduce your tax liability. But the bank is obligated to issue the 1099. So the bank cannot negotiate that away. The bank is never going to say, oh, okay, we won't issue a 1099.
Right, they have to do what they have to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a very good question. It's going to come up more frequently. I think that's one that I should put up an answer in writing as well as on the web, on the YouTube. It's a great question. But don't be, it's better saving $24,000 than having to give the bank $24,000 in my example, Oh,
that is a good question, and it's something that I've never thought about, but that would almost be like income that's already been realized because you received it.
Right.
So you pay tax on monies received,
Right.
therefore you would.
Well, it's not really monies received, it's money forgiven.
Right, but
That's
it
been
is
forgiven.
though, yeah, it is
It's the
as
same
though that was
idea.
credited to you.
Right.
So yeah, that was a really good question. Planning for a settlement in Pinckney.
1099-C, that's what it's called.
Good question and a different question.
Yeah.
That might be the first time that we've seen that question. When we do these, and I'm not reiterating this to David, for the viewers out there, we get a lot of the same question over and over again, just in different words and different scenarios from different people, obviously. So I always get excited when there's something fresh and like completely new. So
well, it's really, you're starting to see a trend, Blair. I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, it's almost like a leading index, what do they call it? Leading indices. We're starting to see more issues related to debt and stress at our office.
Yep.
So these are now the questions that are coming through.
Yep.
And just for those people who are watching, this is mostly, these are questions that come in. We probably get around 75 calls a week, around probably 15 to 20 calls a day. And then we also get inquiries online from a number of different sources. So these are, if we're limited only 5 questions today, 5 usually is what we try and do, 5 to 6. And tonight I think we have 7 because somebody threw in an extra one. But yeah, this is what we're starting to see, and this is part of what the reality of the economy.
Yeah.
So most of my stuff will be mortgage related, house related, default related. And when the economy gets better, which is so weird right now because the economy is still very good in real estate, you then get more purchase agreements and more, I'm starting to negotiate with commercial lenders where business owners and investors just like you and the people who are watching are now trying to get deals, on properties that are in distress. Yeah. It's just starting.
Yep.
So for both residential and commercial. So it's not a whole new world for me, but workout, it's called lending workout or loan workout. We're doing more of it, and you're starting to see it in the questions. And I'm sure that in 2 weeks, when we do our next meeting, there'll probably be more of these items related to real estate.
Yes, yep. So just to timestamp the video for those who are watching in the future, it's the pandemic, the coronavirus crisis, just elected a new president, etc. So we will see where these things go. But yes, the pattern is definitely coming in. We are having a lot of debt issue types of questions.
Right.
So let's move into our final question of